And I want to begin by asking you about something that Clarence Thomas just posed in the questioning. And he goes, is there any precedent for this? In other words, even if you go back to the Civil War, is there a single case where a state decided on its own that we will define insurrection, we will then conclude that this particular guy was guilty of insurrection, and on that basis, we will keep him off the ballot? Has this ever occurred? Has this clause of the Constitution ever been applied ever in the way that you want it to be applied now? And apparently the attorney for Colorado was like, no answer, because there is no answer, is there?
Yeah, no, there is no answer. I thought Jonathan Mitchell did a good job of laying out President Trump's position. The main issue really being, does Section 3 of Article 14, the 14th Amendment, apply to the President of the United States? It's very specific in the language about which officers it applies to, and it does not list the President or the Vice President for a number of reasons. And actually, Justice Brown Jackson laid out pretty well why the President and the Vice President aren't part of that language. I was surprised to hear it come from her, but she did lay it out pretty well. But yeah,
Christina, what is that reason? Why is it sensible to frame that clause, which does prohibit people who engage in insurrection from running for the presidency? Why would it exempt the president and the vice president?
Well, there are a couple of reasons. The one that Justice Brown Jackson laid out that I thought was really the historic reason is when they drafted it, the framers of that article, of that amendment, were concerned about insurrectionists from the Civil War worming their way back up into federal office through the states. And so what they were limiting, limiting senators, and they were limiting members of Congress, people who are elected by one state. What they didn't want was they didn't want the South to have all of their members of Congress as insurrectionists and then worm their way into the federal government and basically overthrow the federal government that way. They were not concerned about the president or the vice president because that is elected by the entire nation, and everyone